Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, we'll try to learn the purpose of Salat in the light of the Quran. Allah says in the Quran, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي, and establish a Salat for my zikr. According to this verse, purpose of Salat is Allah's zikr, or being mindful of Allah. In another verse, Allah says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, O you who have believed, إذا نودي للصلاة, when proclamation is made for the salah, من يوم الجمعة, on the day of Jumu'ah, فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله, then proceed to Allah's zikr, وذروا البيع, and leave the trade, ذلكم خير لكم, that is better for you, إن كنتم تعلمون, if you only knew. So according to this verse also, the purpose of Salat is Zikrillah, or Allah's zikr. إذا نودي للصلاة فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. So purpose of Salah is Allah's zikr, or being mindful of Allah. Allah has also called the Quran as Az-Zikr. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Indeed, it is we who send down the zikr, and indeed we will be its guardian. Sword wal Quran is a zikr. Sword by the Quran, full of reminder. In this verse, Al-Quran has been termed as a zikr, or full of reminder. In another verse, Allah says, فَذَكِّرْ بِالْقُرْآنِ, so remind with the Quran. So the reminder is with the help of the Quran. In another verse, Allah says, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka, it is a book we have revealed to you, Mubarakun, abounding in good, liyadabbaru ayatihi, that they may ponder over its verses, waliyatazakkara ulul albab, and that those endowed with insight may be mindful. So according to this verse, we are supposed to stay mindful of the verses of the Quran. And a salat is a means of not only remembering Allah, but also remembering His message, His guidance, His commands, and His prohibitions, which He has revealed in His book, Al-Quran. Since we recite the Quranic verses during the Salat, so during Salat, not only we remind ourselves of Allah, but we also remind ourselves of the commands and guidance and prohibitions given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence, it is extremely important to understand what we are saying during our salah. That is why Allah says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, la taqrabus salah wa antum sukara hatta ta'lamu ma taquluna. Believers, do not draw near to the salat while you are intoxicated until you know what you are saying. Now, the most important words in this verse are hatta ta'lamu ma taquluna, until you know what you are saying in your salat, until you understand what you are saying in your salat, do not draw near to the salat. So it's very important to understand and know clearly what we are saying in our salat. So unless we understand or know what we are saying in our salat, we'll not be reminding ourselves of the real commands and prohibitions and guidance of Allah, which He has given us in the form of the verses of the Quran, which we recite during our salat. So it is very important to understand what we are saying when we are performing our salah. We need to keep in mind that our remembering Allah is not confined to the time duration of the salah. We are also supposed to stay mindful of Allah's commands and instructions even after we have finished the salah, while sitting, while standing, while reclining. That is why Allah says, فَإِذَا قَضَيْتُمُ الصَّلَاةَ فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِكُمْ. So when you have finished the shortened salah in an unsafe situation, remember Allah standing and sitting and reclining. So in other words, Allah says, Inna fi khalqi samawati wal ard, surely in the creation of the heavens and the earth, waqtilafil layli wal nahar, and in the alternation of night and day, la ayatil liul albab, there are signs for the people with insight. الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم, those who remember Allah while standing, sitting, or reclining on their backs. According to this verse, we can see that this remembrance of Allah is just not just confined to the time duration of Salat, but the people of insight, they remember Allah, they stay mindful of Allah while standing, sitting, or reclining on their back. So whatever they do, they stay mindful of Allah's laws and commands. It is also clear from this verse is a qudiyat salah, when the salat has been concluded, fantashiru fil ard, disperse within the land, wabtaghu min fadlillah, and seek from the bounty of Allah, wazkurullah kasiran la'allakum tuflihun, and remember Allah much that you may attain falah. It is clear from this verse that even when the salat has been concluded, we need to stay mindful of Allah. So during the salat, we recite different verses of the Holy Quran which contain Allah's guidance. So at specific times of the day, we remind ourselves of Allah's guidance contained in the Quran. And when we conclude our salah and go out, we still keep ourselves mindful of Allah and His commands in whatever we do. So Allah's zikr is not just confined to the time duration of the salah, but even after the salah, we need to stay mindful of Allah and His laws and commands. So according to this verse, purpose of salah is Allah's zikr, and also according to this verse, purpose of Allah's zikr is falah. So salat leads to Allah's zikr, and Allah's zikr leads to our falah. So when we keep ourselves mindful of Allah's laws and commands in whatever we do, so we follow Allah's instructions during our daily life, in our tasks, and purpose of following Allah's guidance is that we attain falah, or we attain self-actualization. So salat in itself is not an end, but it is a means towards an end. So salat's purpose is Allah's zikr, and Allah's zikr is our falah, our self-actualization. So Allah is in no need of our rituals. Whatever He has commanded us to do in the Holy Quran, it is somehow for our own benefit. And in this case, purpose of salat is that we stay mindful of Allah's laws and commands, and we keep in mind Allah and His commands in whatever we do in 24 hours a day. And the purpose of following Allah's laws and commands in whatever we do is that ultimately we will attain falah, we will attain self-actualization. Whereas in a broader sense, purpose of Allah's zikr is falah, wazkurullah kasiran la'allakum tuflihun. Allah's zikr also results in mental tranquility. So Allah says in the Quran, Allah bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Verily, with Allah's zikr, hearts become tranquil and submissive. Allah says in the Quran, "Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan wa ita'i zil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar wal baghi ya'izukum la'allakum tazakkarun." Indeed, Allah orders justice and good conduct and generosity towards those who are nearby, and forbids immorality and unlawful conduct and transgression. He exhorts you that perhaps you will be mindful. So the verse ends with the words la'allakum tazakkarun, so that you may be mindful. So what we need to be mindful of is Allah's different commands and prohibitions, and this verse gives example of some commands and prohibitions. And the examples of the commands are that we are supposed to do justice, we are supposed to have good conduct, and we are supposed to be generous towards those who are nearby. And the examples of prohibitions which Allah has given us in this verse are immorality, unlawful conduct, and transgression. Allah says we need to be mindful of these commands and prohibitions. In other words, we need to do zikr of these commands and prohibitions. So in other words, Allah says, "Utlu ma uhiya ilayka min al-kitab," recite what has been revealed to you of the book. Waqim salat, and establish salat. Inna salat tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Indeed, salat prohibits immorality and unlawful conduct. Wala zikrullahi akbar, and surely Allah's zikr is of the greatest significance. So this verse also highlights the importance of Allah's zikr as a purpose of as-salah, but specifically mentions two prohibitions which we need to be specifically mindful of. And these are immoral and unlawful conducts, and the purpose of salah is also to stay away from the fahsha and munkar, all the immoral and unlawful conducts. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.